Hi, welcome back to the series The Break. So the first 5 days here is before the break. Before the break of what? Before the break of the heart. So I'm Toyin Okanuga and I am your host. I am your trauma-informed specialist, and I look after people who have gone through adverse childhood experiences, specifically childhood sexual abuse. And this series is about my childhood, but also how we integrate everything that we do that is to do with healing the heart. So this title here, Before the Break, is why art and nature heals what therapy could not touch. So you would have seen the art that I've been producing and showing you through creating all these modalities to heal the heart, because everything starts with pictures, images to speak to the subconscious. So you might see me painting, you'll see my brush strokes, and at some point you will see me break actual china and use kintsugi lines of gold to mend them back. And you will see this. But this isn't just art, this is memory making for your subconscious. Because when trauma happens, it doesn't just break the mind, it fragments the body. So the subconscious mind stores that pain, not in words, but in symbols, in shapes, and in silence. And that's why I don't just tell you what healing is. I show you, because I'm a living witness, living proof that art is the real healer of a broken heart. So every time I mend a shattered bowl, when I start to do that with gold, I'm creating an imprint, not just for my heart, but for yours. Because your subconscious responds more to imagery than it ever will to language, because it remembers color, you see. It remembers repetition, and it remembers safety rituals. So repetition on a daily basis. And that's what this series is. It's a ritual for your healing. So when you come back and see me do it again or show you again, your nervous system starts to believe it's possible. And your heart realizes it can be held again. So this is art to heart. It's a journey back to the parts of you that words abandoned. Let's sit with that. The parts of you, the parts of me that words abandoned. So if you've been told to just talk it out or just keep quiet because, but your body's still screaming, stay with me. Because here, I don't just talk about it. I show you with one brush stroke, one breath, and one bold act of beauty at a time, because that is vital. So in this series, I'm talking a little bit about my childhood, but I'm linking it to science-based, the storytelling that I'll make, but also how this all links to our body and brain connection. So a little story, if you don't know mine already. So it's Hush to Roar, and it's my memoir about the love, the trauma, and most importantly, the healing. So I remember when I used to go out in the woods with my foster mum, my white foster mum in Leicester, and I would be there for ages with just me and my crayons or my brush and the breeze. So that memory lives in my body. A memory that's amazing lives in your body too, and we want to resurrect that beautiful story. The felt sense. This is a butterfly hug, by the way. I would just encourage you to even do that as you're sitting right now. So my nervous system remembers the rhythm of peace, and yours does too. And I'm sorry if you are sitting there or listening and thinking, Toyin, I don't remember any time in my life where there was peace. I can assure you that your birthright is peace. Your birthright is calm, not chaos. So even if you don't have any recollection of that, let's get you back to where you're meant to be. Let's talk about the science aspect of DMN. So there's a part of the brain that's called default mode network, or DMN for short. So this is what lights up when we reflect, imagine, or remember. So when trauma happens, the DMN becomes hijacked, flooded with self-doubt, shame, and painful loops. But when we engage in safe creativity like drawing, painting, storytelling, the DMN, default mode network, begins to reorganize. So it shifts from survival mode into a state of healing. So let's remember that default mode network. That's vital. So we move from what's wrong with me to here's what I lived through and here's who I'm becoming. Remember the course, The Biology of Becoming? I really implore you to enroll onto Biology of Becoming. That's the course, the link is below. And when we pair this with nature, oh my Lord, we create what's called a dual regulation. A dual regulation. So where both the brain and the body return to calm together. So that's the objective of this series. We want to get the brain and the body in alignment. So our thoughts and our feelings. That's vital, and it's the nature and art that help do that coordination. I'll read out a statistic to you. So I've got my notes here. So a 2019 Nature Neuroscience study found that children raised around green spaces have lower rates of anxiety, depression, and attention disorders. And securely attached children who are allowed to create freely, they develop stronger emotional vocabularies and confidence. Imagine that. Let that land. Emotional vocabularies and confidence. You see, I didn't even know the science back then when I was in nature. I just knew that when I was creating, I felt whole, I felt safe, I felt at home. And the art of to heart moments was sacred for me, long before I had the words to explain why. I was in my sense of wonder. That's why my care course, so I've got a trademarked program, a school called the Healing Tips Toyin's Inner Peace Pathway School. And within that school, there's a care arm that I've developed alongside others. And it's the 5 wellness steps: your sleep, your train, your eat, parasympathetic, and sustain. That's the steps. So this is a tool that I use. I even use it. I use the tools for, it's a nervous system safety tool. It's not just about healing the past. It's about building emotional rituals for peace today. And if you're curious about how your brain, body, and beliefs are wired for healing, you want to get my Biology of Becoming. That's the next best step, and I regularly actually still I study that for me, even though I created it. So here's the gentle invitation. I say take 5 minutes to create something beautiful or something bright without pressure, because art is the way. And then go out in nature. You can even go and do it in nature. Paint a memory that's beautiful. Scribble your piece. Use beautiful colours. Sit under a tree and breathe. You don't need to heal all at once. It's like an onion, really. But every brush stroke is a whisper to your nervous system that you are safe. It's a whisper to my nervous system regularly. And so if this resonated with you, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and press your notification button so that you don't miss a video, because these series are the things that I have personally done to heal from the most traumatic events in my life, including childhood sexual abuse from the age of 12 until I turned 15. Because without going into detail, it's an abuse of the soul. And I want to help people through the raw event, which I kindly also ask you to support us with. The link is below. That event, that movement will happen on the 25th of October this year in London. So it's for survivors, it's for advocates, it's for policymakers, it's for psychologists. There will be a panel of psychologists, storytellers, survivors, and we will talk about the effect. I'll talk about unexplained operations I've had. We'll talk about neuroscience, the immune system, art, and how healing has to be holistic for people to feel whole again. So thank you for watching, and remember, your inner child, it has a voice. Don't suppress it. Let it roar. And how are you going to roar? You're going to roar through art. This is what I prepared earlier. So I'll see you in the next session. And remember, look at these colours. They're patterns. And I want them to sync for you to remember that your nervous system is whispering, I am safe. I love you guys and speak to you soon.